Hey everybody, it's Mickey, and in today's video, I'm sharing with you some easy fall crockpot recipes that are perfect for this busy time of year. And you know, it really wouldn't be fall without sharing a recipe for the most delicious pumpkin spice cake. So if you are new here, I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe. I put out new videos every week about all things home. Every now and then I come across a recipe that I think deserves a video all on its own, and this is one of those recipes. So this is for Crockpot cream cheese crack chicken chili. Now that is a mouthful, but this is such a yummy recipe. It is a perfect fall recipe because you can add some rice to this to, feed a whole group of people, and it is even better once it sits overnight in the fridge. You may find a bunch of different recipes for this chili online, but this is the way that I do it. And like with any recipe, I just think that you can, throw in whatever your family likes the most. So for this recipe, you are going to need some diced Rotel tomatoes and chilies. I like the original, but you can also, add in whatever level of spice that you like. You're going to need a can or a bag of some yellow corn. You'll need some taco seasoning. You'll need a block of Philadelphia cream cheese. I find that this recipe is much better with the original full strength cream cheese rather than, the less fat brand. You can also add black beans or pinto beans, whichever ones that you like the most. You're going to need some ranch seasoning, about 2 cups of chicken broth. You'll need some either cooked bacon that you've done yourself, or you can use this real bacon pieces that I found at Walmart. And you will also need some shredded cheddar cheese. I really love this 4-state cheddar from Sargento. It's been our favorite for a long time. Also for this recipe, of course, I am going to be using about 1.5 pounds or so of boneless, skinless chicken breast. I have them cut into pieces here on the plate. I have added a little bit of extra garlic powder, Mrs. Dash. I've added some parsley here as well. I just cut them up because I think that they cook a little bit quicker and thoroughly in the crock pot when they are smaller pieces. We're going to shred this up in the end anyway, so the pieces really don't matter. To the bottom of our crock pot, I'm going to add our pieces of chicken. On top of that, I'm going to add our can of Rotel. I have my package of frozen corn, 2 cups of chicken broth, I have a package of ranch seasoning. I'm going to put about 3 tablespoons or so of the ranch seasoning on top. I'm also going to add about a handful of the bacon bits, just to get a little bit of that bacon flavor in our recipe. We are not big bacon fans in our house, so this tends to be just enough for us. And then on top of this, I'm going to add the cream cheese. Now you can just add your big block of cream cheese right on top. I like to just cut it up into chunks and drop it, like all over all the other ingredients here in our crock pot. I don't really think that it does anything different than if you just put the big block in there. It just works out in my little brain. So we have all of that in there. You can get a spoon if you want and kind of work things down a little bit and spread them out. And then we're just going to add the lid, and we're going to cook this on low for 6 to 8 hours, or on high 3 to 4 hours. So it has been about 4 hours, and I want to check the temperature of the chicken. The chicken is totally cooked. We're going to remove it, shred it up, add it back to the crock pot, and also add about a cup of shredded cheese. So this is our finished Crock-Pot cream cheese crack chicken chili. I have it on a bed of white rice. I'm going to be adding a little bit of sour cream on top, and I'll be eating it with a side of tortilla chips. Chili to me is the perfect fall food. I always make it on big football nights. I usually make it for Halloween or just any time we are in the mood for something warm and cozy. I really don't think it can be officially fall unless you make a pumpkin dessert. So today we are going to be making pumpkin dump cake. I think I saw this recipe last fall sometime on Pinterest. If I can find the original recipe, I will link it for you. If not, I will just put the recipe down below. So for this cake, you are going to need a 9x13 pan. You are going to need a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. You'll need a can of pumpkin. You're going to need about a half a cup of sugar, 3 eggs, a little bit of cinnamon. You can use probably any cake mix. You can use like a yellow cake mix or a white cake mix, but I really love this recipe with spice cake, and Duncan Hines, in my opinion, has the best one out there. You're also going to be needing a stick and a half of butter that we are going to slice really thin and lay on top of our cake. So to a medium bowl, you are going to add your pumpkin. I'm going to use the whole can. Add your evaporated milk. 3 eggs. I always like to break my eggs first in like a little cup like this, just in case I come across, you know, a bad egg. I don't ruin my mix. And then we're also going to add our half of a cup of sugar. And then to this, we are going to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Then we are going to beat this all together with a hand mixer, and then we're going to put it in the bottom of our pan. So I prepared my 9x13 pan, and I sprayed it really well with non-stick cooking spray, and we are going to add our mixture to the bottom of the pan. So on top of this, we're just going to take our spice cake mix, and we are just going to sprinkle this on top. We're not going to mix it at all. So once that is all done, I like to take just a fork and very, very gently break up the little clumps and kind of spread it out so it's as even as possible. And if you do that really lightly, it works. So then you're going to take your stick and a half of butter and slice it up in really thin slices, and you're going to add it to the top of your cake until it's completely covered. Now, I have tried a recipe like this and I didn't use as much butter as they called for, and honestly it didn't come out as well as I wanted it to. So next time I made this recipe, I definitely used the amount that they had suggested and covered the complete top of our cake. So this is what it's gonna look like when you have your butter all over the top of it. We are going to bake it in a 350-degree oven for 45 minutes. My family really loves this recipe. For Thanksgiving this year, I'm going to try to bake this cake inside of a pie crust to give it a little bit more of a pumpkin pie crumble cake kind of vibe. I think that it will be the perfect substitute for your everyday pumpkin pie. I like to serve this cake with a little bit of vanilla ice cream on top and a sprinkling of cinnamon sugar. I really encourage you guys to try this recipe. I think your family will love it and you will definitely add it to your Thanksgiving table. Next up, I have the perfect recipe for a rainy Sunday. This is for Crockpot chicken, rice, and veggies. This was a recipe that I had found, oh my goodness, years and years ago. And we had started to make it usually on Sunday afternoons because it's a really quick recipe. You have to cook it on high because otherwise your rice will get a little too mushy. So it cooks in about 2.5, maybe 3 hours at the most, and it is just a perfect cozy meal for a wet afternoon. For this recipe, you are going to need about 1.5 pounds of chicken. Here I have some boneless, skinless chicken breasts. You're going to need some chopped onion. I like to use white onions, but you can also use yellow ones. You'll need some minced garlic, a couple ribs of some chopped celery. You're going to need some wild rice. Now this is the kind of rice that I like to use anytime I put rice in the crock pot. This is from Lundberg. It is a very sturdy, flavorful rice. You can find it in almost any grocery store. This one particular I found at Walmart. You're going to need some shredded cheddar cheese that comes in at the end of the recipe. You will need 3 cups of chicken broth. You can chop up some carrots and throw in some peas. Personally, I like to use some frozen mixed vegetables. This has green beans and corn and peas and carrots. I'll probably use at least 1.5 bags here. These I think are 10-ounce bags. I'll probably end up putting both of them in, of course. And you're going to need a bunch of different seasonings. You're really going to want to add as many seasonings as you can and really season it well. So we're going to use salt and pepper, some Mrs. Dash. I have some parsley here, paprika. I have some dried ranch seasoning. I'm also going to put in some garlic powder, and I have some Italian seasonings here. So the first thing we're going to do is chop up our onion and our celery and get everything in the crock pot. So you guys may have noticed that I took an unexpected break from YouTube. I think it's been almost 2 weeks since my last video. Our family and extended family has had quite the time of it. We have welcomed a beautiful new baby. We have unfortunately had a family funeral, and we have been lucky enough to celebrate an engagement. You know, although life can be very unpredictable at times, I think we can't help but be grateful of the absolute joy in everyday life and the many blessings that we have every day. I think it's important though, to take the time to be in the moment with these types of things and appreciate those around you and just take the time to just be. My YouTube family is also very important to me. This community has been everything that I hoped it would be. I think that we are all so lucky to have a spot where we can, get excited over a simple crockpot recipe or decorating for the season or just sharing, silly craft ideas. I think that our little corner of the internet is a safe spot where everybody is welcome. And I always say that if we were neighbors, I think that we would all just be the best of friends. I added a crock pot liner to my crock pot here, and I'm just going to put in my chicken down at the bottom. I've already seasoned it with some garlic powder, ranch seasoning, salt and pepper, paprika, and a little bit of some parsley. And then on top of here, we are going to put in our chopped veggies and spread those out. And then I'm going to add the frozen vegetables. And then we're gonna add in about 1.5 bags or 2 bags of some frozen mixed vegetables. That looks pretty good. And then we're going to add our rice on top of that. There you go, mix that all in, and we are going to add about 3 cups of chicken broth. Mix that in as well as you can. Then at this point, you can add in a little bit more of your seasonings. I have my Mrs. Dash, a little bit more of salt and pepper, some garlic powder, some dried ranch seasoning, and just a little bit of Italian seasonings. And then we'll put our lid on it and cook it for about 2.5 to 3 hours on high. So it has been about 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I am going to check our chicken and see if it is done cooking. Let's see. Oh my goodness, it is so totally done. So I'm going to take this chicken out and I'm going to shred it up, and then we are going to add some shredded cheddar cheese to the crock pot, let that melt, and then we'll serve it up. So this is our Crock-Pot chicken, rice, and veggies. To me, this is one of those great all-inclusive meals. You know, you have your rice, you have your veggies, you have your protein. You stick it all in the Crock-Pot. It cooks up in just a couple hours, and everybody can eat when they're ready. That's going to do it for me today. Thank you all so much for hanging in with me over this little break and watching today's fall crock-pot recipe video. Be sure to check the description box down below for recipes or for links mentioned in today's video. While you're there, I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe. I have so many fun fall videos in the works, and I don't want you to miss a thing. Join our communities over on Facebook and Instagram at My Bashful Life. So until I see you in that next video, I hope that you love the life that you have, be kind to each other, stay safe, and I will see you again soon. Bye!